We rely on a lot of food, well, over 70% comes from the United States, our food imports. They're losing over 50 hectares every hour of prime farmland. Now this is where people talk about getting our food from somewhere else. This is somewhere else that they're paving over. We're going to have to start thinking at home and our own food security. In British Columbia, one of the best growing areas is Fraser Valley, Saanich Peninsula and the Okanagan Valley. Producing food in the Fraser Valley itself is some of the highest in the world in some of our crops. One of the issues with agriculture today is that the farmers are getting older.
Where are the growers going to come from? The median age of farmers in BC is 50 and above, and in order to replace that, if we want to continue eating, which I assume we do, the replacement of those aging farmers is going to have to come from a population that has largely grown up in an urban situation.
The UBC farm is an excellent tool for teaching people not just about urban farming, but also about how we produce our food. How do we get our food to the plates of everybody in British Columbia?
2008, this marks the first year of the Sowing Seeds for the Future apprenticeship at the UBC farm, which is a 7-month, 22-hour-a-week program. So it runs over 31 weeks, an entire growing season, based here at the UBC farm, 4 days a week. The Sowing Seeds program, which is starting this year, is an entry point for aspiring growers. This is a place that people can come to gain the fundamental foundation skills. So learning the basics of seeding and transplanting, proper handling techniques, harvesting, all the way to marketing.
So we probably want to do about 100 bags.
It's an introduction to all of those, so we're expecting our graduates to leave with a solid grounding and understanding in what it takes to operate a complex mixed farming system.
I would say right now, less than 10% comes local at this time of year. It's just starting to break. Berries, some spinach bunch, fresh peppers. But that's all dictated by the weather. There's a lot of drought going on. There's a problem with the fuel surcharges. All these things are adding on to cost. And even though we're trying to meet the demand of the students, we also have to meet demands of the business. As you can see, this is our salad bar. This is a very, very popular area. We're working with the farm, which is tough. The volume I go per day is like 30 pounds. It's a very labor-intensive procedure for UBC farms and any supplier to pick, clean, make sure it's perfect. But this whole area will be decorated down the road, hopefully with fresh cut flowers from UBC farms, and come the fall, some pumpkins, etc., whatever they can get. This cart is our fresh fruit cart, is packed on all layers. We are working with UBC Farms and Liska to get organic local apples come September. I will go through 2 cases of Braeburn a day, 2 cases of Gala a day. Normally we have the Red Delicious, Macintosh, and Golden Delicious, 1-1-1. We use a lot of fresh herbs at Vanier. So we're hoping that we can get as much fresh basil from UBC Farms, and then we can utilize it in our multigrain pizzas and other pizzas too. This is my order board for vegetables and produce. There are about 120 some items on here. No farm can meet that demand. So even if I can get 10% of these items from UBC Farm would be unbelievable and be very satisfying to not just me, but to the students.
Growing food for people is an incredible thing to do in your life, I think. A career and a devotion to actually be part of growing food so people can live and people can get nutrition from that food. It's exciting, actually. Every spring I still get excited when I see the farms being, the soil being tilled and getting ready for that next crop.
The land base is clearly the most important aspect of keeping this program running. This is the only operating farm within the city of Vancouver.
We have a word in the Squamish language, and it's tamatskutsi. Things happen as they're meant to happen. And I think for a lot of people that come out here, they have that kind of experience. They get here and they feel like this is it. I was just meant to come here and sit and be. With our program on this plot of land, we have at least once a week where people come out from the city, and it's looking like, because it's caught on after a couple of years, that we're looking at probably seeing 2 or 3 days a week, people coming here. And our clients are urban Aboriginal people, so elders from the downtown area, from the east side. It could be clients from the Broadway Youth Resource Center. Our average client lives in an apartment building with a cement balcony. They don't have earth.
When you look at what we're able to do in the garden project, we're able to make use of the combination of cultivated and wild spaces. So we've got all the vegetables as well as some traditional herbs and plants that we can grow here in the cultivated spaces, but then we have all the wild spaces around us in the forest surrounding us. And so Cease, who is the cultural coordinator of the garden project, who has a lot of experience with traditional plants, is able to take participants out into the forest to look for culinary or medicinal plants.
Toistanot Quian Snos, Ceasewise Niamen. My name means woman that travels by canoe to gather medicines for all people. And so the work I do in my life is always with plants and with teaching people about them. My whole work is about helping educate people around their food needs, nutrition needs, and not just looking at medicines, but looking at food groups and trying to find as many traditional-minded foods to implement into our garden.
So this is the baked whole-wheat organic bannock that we'll be making about 4 or 5 of for tomorrow's feast. I guess the idea is fry bread is definitely traditional, but doing it in the baked way makes it a bit healthier. That's what's going on.
They grow up in a lot of communities on moose. So, you know, this is a close buffalo, bison, moose, it's all good.
When I was talking to people about the health impacts of the project, I had come in with a much more limited perspective, thinking about things like physical health, and they were constantly reminding me that it was much more holistic than that, and they would talk about physical and mental and emotional and spiritual health benefits of the garden project. People would say things like it's therapy to be out there, or, you know, that they liked eating healthy when they were with other people.
Food is your nourishment, it's medicine. But this is all medicine too. I find that just the gathering. It's healthy. It's healing. That's all I can say.
Lots of love. That's right. Val said lots of love. I agree. There's a lot of love in this food.
The vegan dessert.
This is probably where your fruit is coming from in the grocery store. These things which will never get higher than the top wire, you get an awful lot of apples in a very small area.
The university should be able to look at this and say, look, this is such a jewel that they have for teaching about food, teaching about forestry, teaching about the environment. It's all in one. It's one package there that they can use. Because I think people want to know.
There's too much water in the honey that they collect, and we can prevent. Go right to a honey store.
At the UBC farm, not only do you teach children, you also can teach the students, you teach the general public. It's a fabulous demonstration place on food systems. It has the potential to be a world leader in the sense of demonstrating all food systems, not just in British Columbia, but on a world basis itself.